Hey everybody, and welcome back. And what we're looking at here is the latest Star Wars action figures to appear on the pegs. These are the Mission Series action figures, and you might have noticed by looking at them that they seem to be a few steps backwards from what we've been used to in Star Wars action figures. And I wanted to review them, go over the packaging and so forth, and then go over the figures, and then give you my thoughts as to why these are out and if they're worth it, if they're a good collectible, and so forth. So anyway, let's start by looking at the figures. I'm partial to classic Star Wars, the original trilogy, so I went ahead and got figures that were only from that trilogy. I got the R2-D2 C3PO, which is the Tantive IV Mission Series, and as you can see, they're both nicely put on this box with pictures from the movie on either side. They have there's a picture of Darth Vader over the top, and these are quite similar to the Revenge of the Sith packaging. On the back, we have a photo from Episode 4, and it has a brief little paragraph. It says R2-D2 and C3PO escape from the rebel ship Tantive IV as it is boarded by Darth Vader and Imperial stormtroopers. The droids flee the ship in an escape pod that falls to the remote desert planet Tatooine and puts in motion an adventure that will change the galaxy forever. And then it shows you three other figures from the Mission Series. And the next one is Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, and this is the Bespin mission. There's a picture of Luke and Darth, and on the back it shows their climatic lightsaber duel. And Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader engage in a lightsaber duel in Cloud City, which floats above the giant gas planet Bespin. Luke fights bravely but cannot defeat the highly skilled Vader. Luke is dealt two blows: the loss of a hand and the shocking truth about Vader's identity. So finally we have the third Mission Series pack I got, which is Han and Chewie, and this is the Death Star mission, and it has that photo of Han and Chewie. It says Han Solo and Chewbacca are swept up in the Rebel Alliance's struggle to free the galaxy from the evil Galactic Empire. These two unlikely heroes help rescue a princess and deliver plans to the rebels that help them destroy the Empire's Death Star. Okay, so let's go ahead and open these up. I think these are pretty simple figures, so I think one review should cover all three unboxings. So, let's start with R2 and C3PO. It appears there's some tape right here. They're very simply packaged. I'm just gonna cut. I was gonna try to not cut through the paper, but I'm just gonna cut through it. Okay. Comes apart pretty easily. They pop out. They're not held in by rubber bands or anything. I'm going to go ahead and open them all at once and then review them. Probably be the most economical way to do it. Now, if you watch Filmmaker Mike's channel, he gave a pretty complimentary review to these and explained that they're actually not bad figures. They, despite their limits in articulation, which we'll go over, but okay, one more package to open here. Okay, and let's get Han and Chewie out. Okay. Okay, got them all standing up here. Alright. Now, let's start with Luke here. Very, very simple articulation. This harkens back to the original 1980s Kenner action figures with 5 points of articulation, swivel neck, swivel shoulders, and swivel hips. No waist. So this is the most limited articulation we've seen on a whole wave of figures since the 80s. The one special thing about Luke is he has a blaster that's painted with 2 colors and actually has a holster. Let me get some light on. Okay. And the blaster's pretty good. And so that's a nice little touch. He comes with his blue lightsaber, which is pretty close to what we usually get. But it's just basically silver and blue. So, not bad. Whoops, let's look at Vader. Okay, he has a soft goods cape. Once again, the basic 5 articulation. Swivel head. Obviously, there's no removable helmet about this one. The swivel shoulders and the swivel hips. And he also comes with his lightsaber. Okay. Not bad. C-3PO. The articulation, once again, is that basic 5. He really doesn't have hands that can hold anything. Although I do really like the paint job. He's got his silver leg. The detail on the paint job is really not that bad. We can see all of his wires and cables and everything. His eyes are a different shade. I mean, it looks like C-3PO. I like it. I really do. This is a basic figure. It's very similar to the old Kenner. And he's got his R2-D2. R2's got movable legs and movable dome. It doesn't click or anything. It just spins around, which is kind of nice. He doesn't even have the movable feet like the basic R2-D2s we're used to. Nor does he have a leg that pops out of the bottom. Although there's a sort of a indentation here suggesting there would be one. Nonetheless, the paint's pretty good for a basic figure. Now let's look at Chewie. He has your basic 4 articulation. His head, although it's a separate piece, it really doesn't move. Sorry, I got a little blurry for a second. Paint, not all that great. His satchel is a little smaller than it should be. He comes with his weapon, his bowcaster. It's in a few pieces, which is kind of surprising from what I've seen of these. There's a scope sight that was rubber banded to it, and it appears to just pop or slide on here. Trying to figure out how this goes on. To tell you the truth, it's... I think I have it backwards. Yeah, it just pops on. Okay. Bowcaster's not too bad. It doesn't have a strap or anything like we're used to, but it's nonetheless, it's not that bad. Trying to get in his hand here. There we go. Fits in his hand pretty nicely. Okay. So there's Chewie and his bowcaster. And let's finally look at Han Solo. The same articulation as the Luke. Unlike the Luke, he doesn't have a holster that works. Interestingly, he has where his legs bend, there's like a hollow spot here where his vest is. This is probably saving plastic. All things considered, not a bad figure. And, you know, here's his blaster. So, okay. So, let's talk about the figures now. Let me get them where you can see them all. Okay. Yeah. Alright. So, what's the verdict? They're not bad little figures. They're nothing that I think is going to ever be worth keeping on the card or anything. These are great figures for children, for people who actually want to play with the action figures. Maybe that's one of the things they were thinking. That's my first theory, is that they had made the figures so detailed and so collectible that no one even wanted to open them anymore. So now you got some figures that are so basic, you might as well just open them and display them or whatever. Number two, they're a real homage to the Kinder collection by going back to your basic articulation that we saw in the 80s. Number three, it's just something to keep our appetites wet until the next Star Wars movie, Episode 7, comes out. They got to keep something on the pegs, because there's been Star Wars action figures available since the mid-90s, and they're not going away. These are clearly cheaper to produce, but they also are cheaper price tag wise. Not as cheap as I'd like to see. Each one of these sets costs roughly $10. So I think they could. I think these are really worth more, like $3. But nonetheless, I like something about this though. I like the is this sort of nostalgic? You know, you got these old style action figures again, very basic, somewhat neat to look at. Kind of like, you know, there's been a real trend in these Chibas and Lego minifigures and lots of much more basic types of representations of our characters, and maybe this is another approach that Hasbro's using to do that. So I don't mind them. I think they are neat to display. They're not, I wouldn't pay very much for them, and my recommendation is to wait till maybe they go on clearance, unless there's some that you really, really want. The other thing I would recommend doing is checking the paint before you purchase these. I went through a lot of different ones before I found these were the best ones I could find, with decent paint, without splashes and spots or missing parts. So be careful when you pick these out. I'd like to see at least all the original trilogy characters created. I think this would make a nice little subset for my collection. But yeah, they're not bad. So I'm going to do a close-up so you can see the detail in all of them. Not bad little figures. So my verdict is they're okay. They're decent. Especially, in my opinion, the original trilogy. I'm not real big on the other ones they have. They have a Darth Maul. They got some clone troopers. They also have single packs. They have a different R2 unit. I think it's Obi-Wan's and a few others. But these, to me, are the coolest. So, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope this helps you make your decision on whether or not to purchase these. And like I said, go for it if you don't mind spending a few dollars. There are cheaper, and if you want to have something to open and handle to display like this, go for it. But they're not really crying out to be purchased, and I don't think they're going anywhere either. So more likely this whole experiment that Hasbro's doing is going to be a whole experiment in peg warmers. So because I mean, let's face it, children do not play with action figures as much as they used to, and really the people buying them are adults. So and a lot of adults are just not going to want these. Well, okay, there you have it. Please rate, comment, and subscribe.